All right, so here we go. If you've been living under a rock for the past few weeks, then you don't know what we're about to talk about here. But where have you been if you haven't seen this? Come on now. Untold, Crime and Penalties, sitting down here with the man himself, built a hockey team at 17, Mr. AJ Galante. How's it going tonight, sir?
How you guys doing, man? Thanks for having me.
Oh, I'm
Not a
super pumped for
problem
this. I'm super pumped.
at all. Listen, he's wearing a CM Punk shirt right now, but you swear you're the best in the world. Hey, so want to ask you right off the get-go, right off the hop here. So you build a team at 17, but in the doc it said that you didn't even know anything was happening. You didn't know this was coming through. This was basically a dad seeing his son not in a position to be able to play, but let's give him the absolute next best thing, his own team to build and play NHL in real life. So how did you feel? How did that all come about? You got that phone call, you're in school, you're like, nah, this can't be real. But it was real. And when you realized it was real, how did it hit you?
Well, it's funny, the whole story. I always tell people I wish it was like a cooler story. Like me and my dad had this big moment where, he like knights me the president of the team or something. But I mean, I wish it was like a cool thing like that. But honestly, man, I mean, really what it was it was one night we're having dinner. It was a Sunday night. We were just talking and my dad's a very serious person, but he does like to joke around a lot. And, we have fun. And he casually said, hey, listen, I'm thinking about putting a team here in Danbury, a minor league hockey team. It's professional, but minor league hockey. And you're going to run it for me. And, again, I thought this was one of those, I was 17, so I thought he was kind of joking around, you know what I mean?
Right,
So I was like,
right.
yeah, sure, Dad. No, I was joking back. Like, hey, sure, yeah, I'll do it. No problem. And that's where we left it. And then, like you said, like I said in the doc, like a week later, I'm in school and I got all these teachers coming after me like, oh my God, this is insane, blah, blah, blah. And and I read the paper. I was just dumbfounded because again, I truly thought he was joking around and I was joking around back with him. And then it's just kind of like, back in those days, the papers were everything. So you see it in print and it's kind of like, oh my God, this is insane. And honestly, bro, I wanted to back out. I was scared. I was just like, this is insane. Like, for like a day or two. And that was the other funny thing is I went home that night and we didn't even talk about it. I went home and, the more I've told this story over the past few weeks, I'm digging up like other things I didn't think about. Like it's not like I called him and was like, oh my God, Dad, I hate you or so, you know what I mean? Like I just went home and we didn't it was kind of like we were playing a game of chicken. I didn't say a word. He didn't say a word. And honestly, I didn't sleep that night. I was just like, I gotta say something. I gotta get out of this thing because this is freaking me out.
Yeah.
But I said, listen, under a pretense of a joke or not, I gave him my word, so I had to keep it.
Right. So can you take us behind the first signing? Because the way the doc presented it, they said, hey, they've signed Gretzky. I'm like, no, I don't think they did, unless I missed something here. They signed Gretzky, and it's Brent Gretzky. Okay. I'm like, that is genius. So how did that idea come across your mind? Because at the time you're 17, and that is a marketing genius. It's probably one of the best marketing moves I've seen for a hockey team ever. Because he was a good player, but just the name attachment to this. How did you come across that whole idea?
Well, to be honest with you, I mean, after the adrenaline wore off that, hey, you're going to be part of this team and this and that. And, then like reality sets in like, hey, we got to like put a team together now. So, our nutty ass equipment manager, T-Bone, we were talking a lot and,
I got lots of questions about that guy.
Oh yeah, I can imagine. But, no, basically, again, I didn't know the UHL. I didn't know anybody. I know nothing, and, basically he kind of gave me the initial like lay of the land, like who's, and look, you buy those like media guide things, you know what I mean? So, you're looking at stats and Brent at the time, I think the year before, God, where did he play? I want to say maybe like Port Huron or something like that. But, when we saw the name, and again, me and my dad looked at each other, we're like, what better way to put it out there that we're getting a Gretzky. You know what I mean? So what we did was, between making the announcement of the team on April Fool's Day, between that and putting out to the media that we signed Gretzky, that first press conference, because look, let's face it, where we're from at the time, it definitely wasn't like a hockey hotbed. So we're like, how are we going to get people to even come to this like press conference? So we kind of leaked it that we signed Gretzky.
Right.
And, no one thought to say, like you said, it's kind of like, unfortunately, when people hear that name, there's only one person you're thinking.
There's only one attachment. Yeah.
Yeah. So we leaked it out, and, it was weird because, like I said, we purposely did the press conference on April Fool's Day. So people didn't know whether this whole thing was a scam, was a joke. And, but they were like, Gretzky, that's crazy. And, that's kind of how we started the mental warfare with people.
I thought it was amazing because I don't think Wayne Gretzky played there, and it's Brent Gretzky up at the podium. I'm going, oh my God, this guy is a genius. That's amazing.
It's marketing 101 though. It's absolute marketing 101.
It was
right?
Great. It was great.
So you get the team going. You obviously sign Gretzky. You get that part of it. That's the key piece, because now all the eyeballs are on you. But that wasn't the only guy that you dealt with the NHL. I mean, there was a lot of guys on that team that they didn't even mention in the doc that played in the NHL. Yeah. I'm wondering for you, when this thing was being put together, did they ask you what guys that you would want to come on the doc and talk? Or was it, hey, we're going to get – these are the guys that we got, and that's it? I want to know what happened there. Like, why didn't Gretzky come on? Why didn't some of the other guys come on as well? Why was it only centric around those certain few?
Well, that's a great question. And the thing is, in the beginning, they literally combed through our whole roster and like literally asked me about every single, whether they played one game with us or 2 full seasons. They did their research, and I gave them, my opinions on, all of them. The unfortunate thing with a documentary that's only an hour and a half, they could only do so many guys. Yeah. So, I know for a fact, like they actually taped interviews with a couple of other guys that unfortunately for one reason or another, they didn't have enough time. You know what I mean? They just couldn't fit it in, unfortunately. And, but no, I mean,
extended cut then.
I know. And you know what? The producers, they were begging Netflix to like let it go longer. And, Netflix for that whole Untold series, they wanted all the episodes like around an hour and 9 minutes. And ours was the longest one at an hour and 25. So they were like going to war. Like they were pleading with Netflix to like let it go longer. But, it's a documentary. They wanted to, have it at a certain length. But yeah, it's unfortunate that, there's so many layers to the team that unfortunately you just can't get to everybody, unfortunately.
So for you, when you're building this team, obviously they show you going on Google and, looking everybody up the unconventional way, the way that we all would do it, when we do our fantasy drafts and stuff. I'm sure you did the same thing many times, but this team, it came together real well. Like you talk about, chemistry and cohesiveness and things like that. Both sides of your life came together well here because everybody understood your vision and rolled together like a family. And, one guy got touched, everybody got touched. It was all over, and it was great to see that. And you want that out of sports. As Toronto Maple Leaf fans, we wish they had a little heart like the Danbury Trashers did, going after guys when things happen, but that doesn't happen with the Leafs. So how did you get that to go? Like, did you tell everybody when you were talking to them, hey, this is my vision, this is what I want to happen, can you step up and do this? If you're asked to fight, will you fight? Or was it just a thing that came naturally?
Honestly, that's another great question. No one's ever framed it that way to me. Honestly, I would say that a lot of it was pretty natural. I mean, my dad, like in the doc, was very direct in the beginning with like Wingfield and stuff like that. Yep. But I just think that guys knew. I mean, we didn't talk to guys and be like, hey, listen, you have to fight 20 times this season or we're cutting you. You know what I mean? It kind of like, I feel like it just happened organically. I think we put together, like you said, a culture where if you were coming into the locker room, you kind of it's weird. It's very hard to explain. It's just whenever, I mean, I could feel it to this day. When you walked into that locker room, like you said, you felt it. You know, it was everyone. I gotta say, in 2 full seasons, you know, we never had issues with teammates. I mean, every sport, every team, you get some conflicts between guys and stuff. We never, I gotta tell you, unless I'm forgetting something, never a major conflict between guys. I mean, everyone kind of bought into the vision. I think they knew they were part of something special.
Yep.
And yeah, man, it was really organic, to be honest with you. I mean, you know, there were times obviously we'd hype the guys up and stuff, but it just was kind of like an unsaid thing. Guys just, you know, I think they really, and we looked for the guys that truly enjoyed that role. You know, the thing is in hockey, I learned is, you know, obviously back then you had enforcers on teams that, you know, they knew that was the only way they're getting on the ice is to play that role. What I realized was 80% of those guys didn't really like to fight, you know, and who really would want to do it anyway. But we look for the guys that actually like to fight, you know, guys that actually embrace that role. You know what I'm saying? And I think that also played a big part into it is these guys, it became like a friendly competition amongst each other. Like, oh, who's going to have the most spectacular game? Who's going to be burying guys into the boards? You know, and it became like a healthy, not for the other guys, but it became like a healthy competition.
Now, was there a tally tracker or something like that? You know, Wingfield say, I got this many kills, or I got this many or that many, and everybody going back and forth. Because, you know, guys get into that. Like, you talk about points and assists, but some guys like to rack up the other way, and especially where the trashers were going. I could see there being hey, I got 16 kills in the season. When you getting yours?
It was a duffel bag of cash on the trainer's table.
Allegedly, yeah. But no, you know what? I will text Brad Wingfield when we're done. I feel like, I'm not saying there was a tally, but now I got to find that out, because I do remember there being something along the lines of whoever gets the first fight, you know, the rest of the guys buying them drinks or something like that. Or there was definitely like some friendly competition in there, but I don't know exactly what. But now I'm curious. I got to hit him up after and ask him.
Yeah, for sure. Well, let's talk about T-Bone too. Let's bring him into this mix because he's part of that craziness too. So in the doc, they were talking about a whole lot of things that he did. Now I gotta ask, did you know about those things beforehand? Did he say, hey, I'm gonna mess with them this way, or I'm gonna cut the bench, or I'm gonna give him 6 towels, or were you kept in the dark so that way you couldn't get no plane?
Well, listen, you know, I think the
right there.
I think the statute of limitations is up, so I really don't care at this point. I mean, look.
What are they gonna do? What are they gonna do?
I know they can't really find us anymore. So yeah, I mean, look, T-Bone and I mean, it was like all of us, not just me and T-Bone. I mean, it was like, think of the most fun like middle school sleepover you ever had. I mean, you know, maybe you were prank calling the operator or something, you know. I mean, everything with us was like a middle school sleepover, just like all hopped up on Mountain Dew or something, you know. I mean, we just thought of the stupidest things sometimes, and we would just, any little thing to like make us like laugh, you know. We never thought we'd have a Netflix thing, you know, back in 2004.
Oh, no,
so
I don't think anybody would.
Like, so, you know, it wasn't like we were looking to go viral. I mean, none of that stuff was happening. We were just doing it for pure entertainment for ourselves, and also to get any sort of advantage. And, you know, I really think it definitely worked. I mean, some of the pranks we did, they landed. Some of them weren't as good, but we were always trying to one up each other.
Is there any pranks you pulled on the other teams that didn't make the documentary? Because I know there was shut off the hot water. You gave the guys like 6 paper thin towels. Is there, you can pass on the question, but are there some on there that didn't make it because they were too out there, or?
Allegedly, an anonymous person would pull the fire alarms at the guest hotels.
I heard
you know, like
one.
2, 3, 4 in the morning, and that's really annoying because when a hotel alarm gets pulled, it's not like a school fire drill where you go out and come back. They really gotta like keep you out there, and you know, during the season it's cold, and these guys are coming out in their pajamas and shit, and everything we did was just super annoying. I mean,
Allegedly.
Very allegedly. I mean, these are all allegations, but allegedly we were super annoying. I mean, just the dumbest things you could think of. Just annoying would be the perfect
Yeah.
adjective for us.
It wasn't even bad because you hear stories in the NHL like they'll paint the dressing room before this, or there's paint fumes, or they'll put like I don't even like baking powder in the gloves. The stuff you guys did, it wasn't bad. It was just an inconvenience that would piss somebody off. And I'm thinking, they didn't do anything wrong. Like they gave the other team towels. Well, that's unfortunate. The hot water was off. The water's still running for the showers. You can still wash your hair. I just thought it was genius. What's your relationship like with Tebow now? Do you guys still talk? Are you still friendly? What's that like at the moment?
I mean, he thinks he's going to Hollywood now. I was talking to him. I was talking with him earlier, and you know, he's listen, you know, all the guys in the doc, you know, what you see is what you get, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, you look at him in the doc, and you know the cigar, the whole 9 yards. He looks like he looks like a bad villain from a Bond movie now, man. You know, not the trainer anymore. He's that bad villain sitting there with the smoke. I mean, you gotta.
Yeah, he is something else, and
he's
but,
embodying.
You know, he has always been that way since I first met him. I mean, he has never changed. I'm not saying that's good. I'm not saying it's bad, but he is who he is, and you know what you're getting.
So let's talk about the commish for a sec here, because obviously you came in the league with a whole lot of different ways of doing things. And, you know, in the first bit of that doc, he's like, not in my league, not in my house. And he talks about that meeting where he walked in with all you guys. And he said he wasn't intimidated, but I could see that it definitely could be intimidating and could be a problem. Did you ever get the vibe off of him that when you guys were rolling and doing your thing, that no matter what, he was going to end up being on the side of the dollar signs? Because that's what was rolling into that league. Nobody heard about this league. Then all of a sudden, ESPN, everybody's rolling up. There's trucks, there's fans. There's an entire section screwing over the commission, just going absolutely bonkers. Talk about Gary Bettman style getting booed. But did you ever feel from him that, maybe a little bit of intimidation there, and we may be able to get away with what we want to get away with? We may get fined, but he's not shutting us down.
I'll still call him Mr. Brissell. I still love Mr. Brissell. I mean, he was from I mean, what he described, like first meeting me, it was literally to a T. I mean, when he saw me for the first time, I mean, his jaw literally did drop. And I just remember just being like, hey, commish, you know, just busting balls. And he was just like, it became like a comedy show. I mean, he would get so mad at me. I mean, because we played our games on weekends. You know, the bulk of our season was always on the weekends. Home or away, didn't matter. So I went to college in New York, which is like 45 minutes from here. And, you know, every Monday morning on my way back to New York, you know, for college, sure enough, at 9 o'clock on the dot, I'd get the call. And, you know, I'd have to put him on speaker on the phone in the car. And he would just be ripping me. You guys are insane. What are you doing? I heard you did this. I heard you do that. The good thing about back then is there wasn't camera phones. So a lot of it was legitimately allegations. So, you know, I'd be like, you know, Mr. Commissioner, I don't know. I'll have to look into this, you know. I don't know what transpired here, you know. And he'd be like, I know you know, like you're lying. But always at the end, you know, he had just such a love-hate with me and us. And I would just get under his skin so much. But he'd be like, AJ, come on, get it together. And I'd be like, all right, I'll do better this week. And then sure enough, the next week he'd call. And it just would go on and on and on. But you know what? I got to be honest with you. I don't know if he was intimidated. I just think, I think he realized, especially the second year, like, what we were building was kind of working. Mm-hmm. And listen, I mean, it was a high level pro league, but at the same time, it wasn't the NHL. So there has to be something to separate you from your competition. You know, what's to make someone come to a UHL game over an East Coast League game? You know what I mean? Like, what, you know, at the end of the day, it is a business. You know, I understand it's a league. I mean, let's face it, there's no league bigger than the NHL. So, you know, if you can't look at the NHL as competition. You have to look at the other minor league, you know, leagues. And what's to stop them from coming to you to going over there. So I think he understood it, but he still had a job to do.
Yeah.
And
Oh, yeah.
man, he would every Monday he'd call me pissed, and it just went on 2 years, 2 seasons, every
Yeah.
single time.
He had the biggest, to use wrestling terms, he had the biggest face turn of the show. Because at the whole show, he was like, oh, I hate these guys. They're terrible. They're ruining my league. And then at the end, he's sitting on his balcony. I guess he's retired now with his little dog. He's like, you know what? They weren't so bad. So I was like, okay, make your mind up, dude. Like, whatever. Yeah, he was he was a character for sure. So you mentioned the NHL, and you got was it Mike Rupp? You were able to get him. Tell us the story behind that. How did that, we know how the idea came around, but I'm sure there's an untold story there. And what was the initial meeting with him like? Because I'm sure that was a shock for both of you, him coming in from the NHL and then you meeting with an legitimate NHL player who scored a Stanley Cup goal coming onto your team. What was that experience like?
Well, it was super cool because, again, I'm a New Jersey, I grew up a New Jersey Devils fan. So, that year when we went to the Cup against the Ducks, 03, I mean, I remember them calling him up from the minors, that playoff, because they were, had some injuries. And I was literally like right in front, where diagonally from where, he I think it was Jeff Friesen took a shot and he deflected it. I don't know why I remember this, but I just, to see the Stanley Cup live was crazy. You know what I mean? In the arena, it was like, because that's the best trophy in sports. And, just to see my favorite team win it, live was crazy. And Mike Rupp always stuck in my head, like, hey, that's kind of cool. He wasn't like a top player, and he came in and he made history. You know what I mean? He helped win the Cup for the Devs. And yeah, man, when the lockout started, it was kind of like, why not go after some NHL guys? You know what I mean? I mean, at the end of the day, the high guys aren't gonna, do anything. But, guys like Mike Rupp at the time were like mid-level guys, maybe they want to stay warm and just play. And I'll be honest with you, I don't remember who made the initial contact with him. I really don't. But all I know is eventually it came to fruition that he was going to come. And I was so excited. I was like, this is crazy. I like a year and a half earlier, I saw him, win a cup. And so usually we had someone who would go up. If we had to pick someone up at the airport in New York, we would, we had someone who would do it. So I told my dad, like, no, I'll get him. Like, I want to get Mike Rupp, I mean, so we actually flew him into Westchester Airport, which is probably like 30 minutes from New York City, but right by my college. And so the deal was we were going to fly him into Westchester Airport on the Friday. I was going to leave class. I left class early to go pick him up. And we were going to take him. There was a home game. We were going to take him to the arena. So, Mike Rupp, usually when you go to an airport, someone's picking you up. It's usually, a limo guy with a suit, and he's got, that name tag thing for people. So, I'm picking you up.
Yeah.
And I just remember, I see him come in, he's a big guy, and Westchester's not a huge airport anyway. And I see him and he's walking. And I'm in I'm in regular clothes, just like how I was dressing in the dock. And I just was like, hey, Mike Rupp. I was like, how you doing, man? And I think he just thought I was a fan or something. So he kind of like, nodded and kept walking. And I was just like, hey, Mike, I'm your ride. And he's looking at me. And I'm looking at him, and I'm just like, I'm cheesing. I'm so happy, And he's like, and he's just like, you're AJ? I'm like, yeah, I'm AJ. And he's looking, he's by himself. So it's like, he doesn't have anyone else to like tell him like, yeah, that's really him. So you could see it in his face. He didn't know if this was some sort of a joke or like some sort of like, I'll never forget the look on his face. And I still joke with him too about it to this day. And it's like, he couldn't tell like if this was BS or not. And finally he's like, okay. So we got in the car. And, I'm making conversation with him. We're driving and he's looking out the window, and he's just like, you could just tell he was super, super confused. It was the funniest thing ever. And then we get to the arena and, he meets my dad, he meets all the guys, and you could tell like the relief, like he was like, okay, this is for real. But this was super. I mean, just his face, like he tried to, like he was walking past me at the airport, figuring I would just recognize him as a fan or something. It was so funny.
Did you try and sign any other NHL guys during the lockout, or was it just that?
Oh, dude, 100%. I went full video game mode. You know what I mean? I was trying to stack the team like a video game. We went after. I tried to get Georges Larac. I tried to get Donald Brashear. I wanted just like a fantasy video game enforcer line, which would have been a total waste of money because nobody was going to fight those guys. You know what I mean? So the dream, we came very close with Brashear, like this close. He ended up choosing he ended up going to the Quebec League. They probably threw crazy dollars at him, but we were very close with him, which would have been cool. But we had for a few games, we had Stephen Pete from the Capitals. He was a tough guy.
Yeah, I remember that.
Mike Rupp, obviously. We tried it. And he played in our league with the Detroit team, but we came extremely close in trading for Sean Avery, which was going to be.
Oh, he would have fit that doc perfectly.
I mean, everyone asked me like, what's the biggest regret you have? And the only regret I have is somehow we weren't able to make that trade happen. So he was playing, I think he was playing with the LA Kings at the time. And during the lockout, Motor City had a team, an inaugural season like us, and they weren't a good team. But for like 5 games, they had Chris Chelios, Darian Hatcher, Marty Lapointe, a couple guys from the Red Wings skated a few games. I think it was just for publicity for the team, to be honest with you. Yep. But Sean Avery ended up on that team, and he was really trying. Like he was trying, like he was like, it was like an NHL game to him. He was legitimately competing and grinding. And I was just like, yo, we got to get Sean Avery on the Trashers. I'm like, this guy's, he's born for this. Yeah. And we came very close. And I honestly don't remember why it didn't happen. But oh man, that would have been so funny to have him on that team. It would have been insanity.
Oh, the shit talking would have been amazing. Absolutely amazing. Him and Wingfield on the ice together, just going after guys.
And Marasti, and I mean, Sean Avery. Oh man, that would have been a beautiful marriage there.
I just want to throw in a side note. Like we're talking about all these enforcers and all these fighters and all that. You guys were actually pretty fucking good. Like you had 2 90+ seasons. I think once the second season you had 107 points, and that's something I wanted to touch on. And you mentioned it earlier too.
Yep.
The documentary made it seem like it was only 1 season, but it was 2 seasons. Can you just tell us quickly what the main difference between the first and the second season was?
Well, the first season, I call that like the shock factor season. I think we were doing so much crazy stuff that first year. I mean, we shattered the penalty minutes record in that league that first year. But we also made the playoffs. We advanced, we won the first round. We lost in the second round. Then the second year we made it to the finals, and we lost the finals. And to this day, if we had 2 of our best defensemen who ended up getting hurt the series before, I really think we could have won it all that year. But that was the main differences. But you said it. I mean, we rightfully so. We got the bulk of our attention from the fighting, the craziness, the antics, just the psychoticness of this team. But the reality was, like you said, we had a lot of guys who could play, and we were putting up points.
You were.
We were racking up points, every game usually. And, it was nice. And a lot of people used to say to me, oh, I'm sure the skilled guys hated being on this team because it's a circus. I said, it's the opposite. These guys know that they're not even going to get poke checked because they're going to have to answer for it. So these guys, I mean, and I didn't play at a high level, but I know when I play hockey, they had a lot of room to skate, man. I mean, no one was going to look to run them. No one was looking to like try to take the puck from them because there was like 6, 7, 8 guys that would have just, they would have been all over you. So I used to tell people, no, you're wrong, because these guys loved it because they had no fear. They could just skate, and they wouldn't even get, no one would even bat an eye at them.
I want to ask you about obviously putting the teams together. Obviously, the two teams did really well. Now, when you came into that league, obviously you were green as green could be. You like you said, it was video game mode. So, what was the response like from other GMs and things like that around the league? You know, you coming in obviously with the hoopla and then the fanfare throughout the season. Obviously, there had to have been some barbs thrown your way. People obviously knew who your dad was, but you know, with hockey, people are purists. They're always purists, right? It's always the old gatekeeper holding that gate saying, no, I'm a GM. I've been in the hockey since I was 5 years old and I've done all this stuff. I've played. Now I'm running this team. Now you come in at 17 and you put a team together. So what was it like from the beginning, then to the end of the first season? You obviously gained respect because the team did well. You went far and you put up numbers. So obviously what you built worked. Did you feel that throughout the season? Did you feel guys go from that one keel, like this guy doesn't know what he's doing, he's in over his head, to, oh shit, this guy knows what he's doing. Now we're in over our head with this guy who's going to beat us over the head with the guys that he's got?
Well, listen, you know, and again, I'm really so humbled with, you know, how everyone thinks so highly of the job I did. But honestly, it was a total team effort. I mean, it wasn't just me. We had a great team overall, including my father, who ultimately had to okay everything. He really was the visionary and kind of green lighted, you know, the ideas, you know, and, you know, we had
I got some questions about the ideas.
But no, I mean, you know what it was? I don't know what other guys were saying because we didn't go to owners meetings. We didn't go to GM meetings. We didn't, you know, we would send random people in our place because, you know, there was mandatory like league. There's like mandatory league, you know, meetings and things. You know, you need someone representing the team. And
for sure.
Typically it's, you know, these guys go away for a weekend on these resorts. They go golfing, you know, they're doing this, they're doing that. The first year we sent my mother and my sister to go.
I wish I could do that.
My sister was like 13 at the time. So we sent her to like just sit at the friggin' conference table. And I think at that point they realized how crazy we were. So I don't know. I gotta tell you, a lot of the GMs and like the front office people, I got the impression like a lot of them liked it already. Like they were like, I wish I was with these guys. You know what I mean? I think the owners, there was always that little jealousy. I don't know if it was jealousy, but look, let's be honest. I could see why they would feel a certain way. I mean, we came in, the puck didn't even drop on the season. We're sitting there saying, we're going to do this, we're going to do that. We were cocky. I mean, I could totally understand. I mean, if it was the other way around, I'd be like, look at this kid. You know what I mean? But we just wanted to set the tone right away. And so I don't know what was said and what wasn't said, to be honest, because we didn't interact with anyone.
The trash is on an island. Well, you talked about your father. I want to ask this question about him. Obviously, everything went through him. Did he give you a budget, or was it just, hey, whatever you need, we will find a way to make it work, allegedly, on the books, off the books? It doesn't matter. We'll figure it out. Or did he say, hey, listen, it's nice that you want that guy, but it's going to cost me a lot of this. It's not happening.
Nah, he just gave him his credit card and said, go for it.
No. Listen, I equated it. I'll put it into baseball terms. Okay. I was the starting pitcher. Okay. I would set the tone. I would do my part in identifying who would fit here, who wouldn't. And my dad was the closing pitcher. However he closed the game out, that's none of my business. He did what he had to do. And hey, listen, he had a lot of saves on his record. He was a good closer. That's all I can say. I don't know.
Listen,
he
was.
I want to follow. Hang on, I want to follow that one up right quick. Then, so with everything your dad did, then, so you didn't know. That was you just ran the team. You didn't know nothing.
Hey,
I was a surprise to you.
I was as shocked as you guys. I mean, I would identify things and. I would close out. I mean, I had papers to write. I was in college. I mean, sometimes, I think we did come to find that our accountant had a little bit of dyslexia. Maybe he thought the salary cap was reverse numbers. I don't know, but honestly,
my God,
I was more of a history guy in school, not math. So that they couldn't have left that to me.
So
Well,
first
I wanna ask
off,
you, obviously you did well with the team. So
yeah.
now the doc has come out and everything's rolling, everybody's getting excited. Have you heard from any other leagues that said, hey, we may like you to come in here and create a little noise for us? I'll talk about the 2.0 Trashers in a minute, and something I want to ask you about the Atlanta Thrashers too. But has there been any outreach? Has anybody reached out and said, hey, AJ, why don't you guys come and try your work a little magic over here?
No, not really. And even after '06, I mean, no. And, I don't know. I mean, I think that, who knows? I think maybe that phase of my life is over. I mean, it rose and fell real quick, but I mean, you never know about the future, but I don't know. I mean, no, I haven't heard from anyone, to be honest with you. And you just, you don't know what could come with the future.
That's why I'm asking this question then. You guys were sitting around the table, allegedly, wondering what would the Trasher logo look like now, and now it got all drove up, and he's all hulked up and ready to go. And then there's the, would you ever bring it back? And there was a nice article written about maybe, you never know. It could be football, it could be hockey, it could be something coming back to Danbury. So it sounds like the Galante's fingers are on a lot of things, but nothing's nailed down. Can you confirm that?
There's something coming. There's a lacrosse team coming or
smile
something.
on your
Look
face
at
is
them.
a
Yeah.
thousand things.
Nah, I smile because it's super humbling. Like, people wanted to come back so bad. And, like I said, honestly, people think I lie. I literally wake up with no plan with my day. I have a couple objectives, and wherever the wind takes me, I mean, we even with the team, we winged everything. I mean, there was no plans. There wasn't like a whiteboard where we had like objective. We just winged it. So I wouldn't be shocked if one day I woke up and it's like deja vu. There was something in the paper, and then my dad tells me, "Oh yeah, we're doing this." I wouldn't be shocked, but at the same time, I don't know. I mean, we haven't totally spoken about it. I mean, so many people. Oh, I don't know. Could you ever bring some? I mean, I think the Trashers represented more than just a hockey team. It was like a day and age. Like, it was a different time back then too. You know what I mean? I mean,
sorry to cut you off. I thought they did a really good job of representing the community and what it did for them. Because it wasn't just the first time they lost a hockey. They lost the Whalers as well, right? So like when it came back,
especially.
Yeah, when it came back, we got a hockey team back. Oh, they're good. Oh, they're entertaining. And it brought everybody together. And we saw that with the reunions at the end and all that. I just thought they did a really good job of that. Sorry to cut you off there. It's just something.
No, it's okay. No, it's okay. And yeah, I mean, I think that was always the biggest thing to me is, winning and losing. Look, we wanted to win it all. It would have been, it would have been outstanding to win the finals that year and then be out of the league the next year. That would have been hilarious. But it would have been crazy. But I'll be honest with you. I think I know for a fact, for me and my father, what brings us the most pride is, exactly what you just said, man, is how much this team still like drums up emotion with people. I mean, it's like I see people. I still live in Danbury. I mean, I'm still in the city here, so I see people since 2006 up until this Netflix thing. I still have been talking. People who talk to me about the Trashers and what it would mean to them, and that's always the best thing is like just how it gave a lot of people a lot of purpose. And I never would have in a million years would have thought a hockey team could do that, but it truly did for a lot of people.
Well, look at this. I mean, so the doc comes out, and all of a sudden there's pictures of Mr. Drake walking around with a Danbury Trashers jersey on. Now, did you know about that beforehand, or was that something that he just did off the cuff of his own? Or did he reach out and get a jersey because he was a big fan of the show? What was that all about? That's something I got to know about, because obviously we're from Canada. Drake's one of the biggest ones from here, but that's huge, man. Rocking the Danbury Trashers jersey.
Yeah, I mean, I got to tell you, I've lived a weird life. That was probably top 10 weirdest thing that's ever happened in my life. Yeah, man. I mean, the documentary dropped Tuesday, August 31st, and the very next day, one thing led to another. It was super random, but I'm speaking with this man, and he was telling me how.
Talking to Drake, no big deal.
Yeah, I know, and you know what? It's funny because I took a screenshot of our conversation. I said, listen, I'm not going to post this. You're going to see I screenshotted this, but I'm letting you know so my wife doesn't think I'm lying. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to, like I told him straight up, like, people are going to think I really lost it. You know what I mean? So he just said, listen, I'm working on this album. I'm finishing it up. I was, this doc was trending in Canada at the time, and I watched it. And I was just like, I wouldn't say I was starstruck. I just was more or less like, I think at that point I realized the reach of this thing, like how many people can actually watch this. And he said to me straight up, he's like, hey, I really would love to have a Danbury Trasher jersey, and again, the team hasn't played in over a decade, so I don't have them stockpiled up right now. I mean, I wish I was prepared. So the only thing I could think of was, well, I got my original Trasher prototype jersey that when we were trying things out, framed in my office at my boxing gym. So he's like, I need it by, Thursday night, basically. And it was Wednesday. So I went, I broke the frame in my office. I took it out. I had somebody I know, this guy, Ray. I was like, listen, you got to drive up to Buffalo like tonight. You know what I mean? And
drop this off.
Drake sent someone basically from, Ontario, Toronto, wherever he is, over to Buffalo. We sent,
I know exactly where he sent him from. We know where Drake's house is.
Yeah,
everybody knows where Drake lives.
Listen, so yeah, he he got the jersey, and I told him, I was like, listen, man, if you want the jersey, you gotta have the jersey. I said, but send me a picture or something. I just would be cool to see it. That Friday, that Saturday morning, 2 a.m, early, my phone starts lighting up like a Christmas tree. And he posts the freaking, pictures with him with the jersey. I was shocked. I was like, this is crazy right now. And it was super cool, man. I mean, he's a really humble dude. You know what I mean? I'm 35 now, so I'm not into music as much, but obviously I know who he is. I listen to his stuff. But man, super, super humble guy. And I told him, I'm like, I want that jersey back. I said, I'll get you your own. I said, but I need that one back for sure. If you could sign it for me or something. So he claims he will. So we'll see. But I told him I'm going to get him, and I said, I'll get you your own custom one, but I need that one back for sure.
So AJ, I have a couple of questions. They're totally unrelated to the Trashers. They're about you. You've mentioned numerous times on this that you went to college, and I don't think the documentary did a good enough part of this saying what were you at college for?
Be honest with you, my mom wanted me to go to college. She's like, I had, aside from the Trashers, it was kind of written for me. I was going to work for my dad. You know what I mean? Right. I mean, it was just kind of like, I go into the business or whatever. And, but my mom's like, nope, you're going to college. You know what I mean?
I mean, sorry, I didn't mean like, why were you there? Like, what did you study? What programs were you in?
I did, so I majored in business management, right, and I minored in history. And, it was crazy. The more I think about it, it was just such a crazy balance, but we got it done. I mean, there'd be times I'd be in class working on Trasher stuff, and there'd be times I'd be at the games in between periods working on college stuff. So it was such a weird balance of everything. Half of my college career was dealing with the Trashers basically full time.
I think that's one thing they really should have included, because like I'm in college right now. I'm in my third year for sport management, and just the balance of everything. Like I've got this, I got my wrestling show, I've got work. Like that balance, people don't fully understand it. That they just kind of left it out. If you hadn't mentioned it, I wouldn't know you were at college. So I think that's one thing people like, they don't really appreciate. You were able to have this mega awesome super hockey team, and you were also going through college. That was something amazing. And one thing, as a massive wrestling fan, I gotta ask, take us through that 10th birthday party, because I gotta know what it's like to meet Triple H and everybody that was there. Take us through it. I want to hear.
Well, because everyone's been asking, more people ask me about, people think I'm like besties with The Rock. I'm like, I don't know, we're not friends. I don't have his number. You know what I mean?
Yeah, so you might now.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't heard from him, but hopefully he comes across this. But no, it's funny, man. There was an old time wrestler, Captain Lou Albano, old time wrestler. he lives out this, he's deceased, but my dad was friendly with him and his family, back in the day. So the day of my birthday party that year, what are we talking about? 97. They had a house show in New Haven, Connecticut that night. When New Haven's probably 40 minutes south of us. So my dad arranged it with, Captain Lou, hey, you got a couple guys that, could come to the birthday party. Again, people have asked me, I don't know if my dad paid, what he paid, the whole 9 yards. I have no idea. All I know is, they show up. And I mean, again, it was before he was The Rock. He was Rocky Maivia. Triple H was
a fanny pack on, I think.
Yeah. I mean, it was literally like 6 to 8 months before they formed Degeneration X or Nation of Domination. I mean, it was before they really all blew up.
Before
and
they
were
popped,
like, they were like mid-card guys at the time.
Yeah.
And oh man, just the great, they were so sweet to everybody. They were so nice. They took pictures. They hung out for like an hour and a half, 2 hours. You know what I mean?
Wow.
They hung out. Triple H was hilarious. He was like busting The Rock's balls the whole time. Like, Rocky was like mad. He was really shy, actually. He was like quiet and but very nice. Chyna was the best. I mean, Chyna was
she's so underappreciated, I think.
Yeah.
Oh my, she was the most personable one. I mean, they were all great, but she was like going out of her way to like make sure we all had like just this fun, memorable time. It was unbelievable. And man, she was it's crazy to think she passed away too, but she was so cool, man. And I mean, she was built. I mean, you see it on TV, but she was brolic. I mean, she was so big. It was insane.
Yeah. Do you still watch the product today? Like, are you catching up or?
Yeah, I still, wrestling will never not be in my life. I go through weird waves. Like right now, like I'll probably be off it a little bit to like Royal Rumble season, and then once Royal Rumble comes, I go right through WrestleMania. Then I need a break. Then I catch up on SummerSlam, and But no, I mean, it was weird during COVID without the audience. It was weird for me.
I didn't like that either. It felt, you need that crowd pop, right? Like I think the moment,
and I appreciated that they were obviously still trying, obviously, and that you got to look. I know in my business alone too, you got to pivot and make do with what you got. But it was hard for me to keep up when there was no crowd. You had like all those TV screens in there. It was kind of weird for me. But
the Thunderdome.
I've been slowly trying to catch up. I mean, now I keep, this AEW thing's a huge buzz right now. So now that kind of caught my attention, and I saw.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good, eh?
Yeah, so it's kind of caught my attention. When I saw CM Punk, show up there, I was like, oh, whoa, they're serious over there. So, it's definitely I think it's great for the wrestling business. I think
oh yeah.
I mean, it's nice to be able to say you are the biggest thing in wrestling, like WWE is, but if you don't have someone kind of riding on your, if you don't have someone kind of pushing you a little bit, I think the product gets stale. I remember, when I grew up, them and WCW were in, that was the greatest because, it was literally like, I had like one set of friends that were all WCW guys, and I was a WWF guy, and like we wouldn't even talk to each other on Monday nights. It was like a gang war. It was like the WCW guys over here, and then we had the WWF guys, and it was like I miss those times because it was like a competition. Now I think this is for me to hear something, because I'm so like under, I'm always doing so many things. For me to know of another wrestling promotion like that, I think that's great for the business. I really do. And honestly, I'll keep it real with you. And I have no knowledge, obviously. I wouldn't be surprised. I don't know why I feel like Vince McMahon has something to do with AEW. I don't know what.
I am on that boat. There is a small majority of us. You and I are on the same boat. He owns that company somehow, some way.
I don't know what he has to do with it, but that is one of the smartest. I've never met him. I wish, but that is a very smart individual, no matter what anyone says. And I don't know. I, I guess this get
Maybe
this.
he doesn't have a stake in it, but he's got something to do with all these wrestlers going over there, right? Like you don't just get like Daniel Bryan just went there, or Brian Danielson.
Yeah, Daniel Bryan. I
You-
saw that. And I was like, what? I was like, what?
And Adam Cole, the biggest NXT. You don't let your best wrestlers go there.
No. There's definitely something, and you know why? And I'm going to tie this into something. The reason I feel like I think he has something to do with it, because he reminds me a lot of my father. My father going into the second season in the UH, that second season, my dad came this close to purchasing our rival, Adirondack Frostbite. And he was going to put my sister as the president of the team. And we were going to have this family warfare going on, which would have been horrible. But my dad's
that would have been amazing.
Oh, that would have been a game changer for the league for sure.
Yeah.
So that's my point is part of me feels like Vince, he's a smart guy, man. I don't know. There's something about it that feels fishy to me. I mean,
there's something about having your feet held to the fire. And that's what it is with AEW on the heels of WWE. It's going to make them better because now they have to push the envelope again. Yep. They have to do more. Like when Eric Bischoff came out and would read the results of Raw before Raw started, so no one will watch Raw because they already know what happens.
And that's what I'm saying. I feel like he has something to do with it because, I think what they did was, and I pay attention, WWE is a publicly traded company now. So unfortunately, he has to answer to investors. And I think he can't be as edgy as he really wants to be because he has to answer to these investors. Right. So I feel like if he's pushing AEW in a way, it kind of justifies him having to go to the investors and be like, hey, listen, guys, this is a real threat. We gotta change up our product a little bit. I think in a very sick manner, but I know how some of these guys think. I see something. I mean, I could be wrong, but I definitely see the conspiracy theory with that one.
There's something there, and I think it's a little more than a conspiracy theory because there's two. We could talk about this forever. You know what, AJ? I'll throw it out there. I'll shoot my shot. If you ever want to come on our wrestling show, you're more than welcome because I can talk about this for hours.
You let me know, man. I gotta catch up a little more current stuff. So I could sound like I know what I'm talking about.
No, we'll talk classics for hours. That's the best.
Oh yeah, man. Listen, mid '90s to the early 2000s. I'm with you. So you let me know, and
we'll do it. We'll link after this.
100%, bro. I'll be there.
So how's the gym going now? Tell us about that. What are you doing there? Where's it located? Where can we find you?
Yeah, no, my boxing gym is Champs Boxing Club. It's in Danbury. It's literally 2 minutes from the ice arena, which is funny. I pass ice arena every day. It's kind of weird, but I mean, the gym's about 6.5 years old now. We got a lot of, professionals out of there. We got amateurs out of there. I got a nice nonprofit out of there for kids, to come and give them something to do after school, no, it's been great. I mean, boxing is a whole nother crazy world. I always seem to find myself in these weird environments. I feel like I'm learning something about myself as years go by. I'm a little tweaked because some of these industries I get myself into are insane. But no, boxing's definitely filled a void in my life, since we lost the team, and it got me back involved with sports and just trying to make a difference where I can. Just like with the Trashers, we try to make an impact in the community and within the sport itself. And I think we're getting there with the whole boxing thing as well in due time.
It's
so when is the next Netflix doc coming out about the boxing gym then? Because that's got to be the next thing, right?
I hope so. I mean, my best case scenario, the best case scenario is somehow this thing blows up like Tiger King, and Netflix just wants to do anything for us, and I'm gonna be like, listen, man, you guys got to start letting me. You guys got to let.
All you got to do is start another pandemic, and everybody will be watching that shit.
Listen, he didn't even need a pandemic for this one. Everybody was in. They could have broke this up. And listen, I've listened to this be talked about and broken down by so many different shows that you've been on. You could have broke this up into separate episodes and had 2 or 3 seasons about this and broke down each season and broke down all the stuff. Because if you look at this, you have the team, your dad's story, your story, going to school. It's just one big thing that it could have morphed into so much more. I want to ask the question, did Netflix give you guys creativity to do what you want, like what you want to say, or did they have a framework that you had to be within to get this done and nailed down the way they wanted?
No, I mean, I dealt with the producers. Netflix contracted these two young producers, McLean and Chapman Way, the brother, the Way brothers. They
Right.
produced all 5 episodes, and
They've done a really good job with all the other ones too.
I mean,
Yeah.
they're both of them are younger than me, which is weird because I've always grown up being the youngest of the group, and I'm like the oldest out of the 3 of us, and just the coolest guys, the most humble guys, super talented. And I got to tell you, I mean, obviously they answered to Netflix, and but honestly, man, I mean, they were very straight up with us. I mean, they didn't sandbag us. I mean, I was always a little worried, sometimes people tell you what they want to hear so they could get what they want, if they want to do a documentary, but they ultimately they produced the whole thing. They leaned on a lot of us for opinions, and they really, we felt like we were part of producing this almost. I mean, we just they kept us in the loop. Great guys.
Sorry,
That's awesome to hear.
AJ, have you ever heard of the show Dark Side of the Ring?
Yeah, that's on Vice, right? I think.
Yeah, it had a very Dark Side of the Ring feel to it, which I loved.
Yes.
Yeah. A few people have mentioned that. I did watch.
I just watched the new one, the Plane Ride from Hell one.
There's a second season coming out, or is it out already? I think
they're on season 3 now.
Oh my God! See, I remember seeing the one. What is the one I watched? I think it was New Jack. I watched one of him.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I gotta go back and watch some of the ones I didn't, but I did watch a few of them. And those are great.
Yeah, no, I don't usually like documentaries. My wife, she loves documentaries. She'll watch whatever is, a document series. And then I saw this and I was like, oh, it's a document. Okay, I'll check it out. I was hooked in the first 5 minutes.
Yep.
And then within the first 15 minutes, I think I messaged my buddy, I said, who's also a wrestling fan. I said, this has a real Dark Side of the Ring feel to it. He goes, yeah, it does. I think that's why you're enjoying it. So I was like, yeah, I kind of love it. And I think one thing about this documentary, it ended happy. Like we saw everybody was happy and they were on their way. I think you surprised, who did you surprise at the end? I forget the name, but you surprised somebody at the end with a hug and everything. It was fantastic. I thought it was great.
Yeah, no, it was, I think it was also the time. I mean, they filmed 2019. I mean, so much has passed since then. I mean, if they would have filmed this documentary like 5 years after the team folded, I don't think it would have been as happy of an ending, just with everything that was going on. I mean, the stars just aligned, and it's hard because I don't want to sound biased, but I really thought they did an amazing job with it, and I'm a pretty tough critic, and they were accurate. That's the thing with a lot of documentaries, they embellish or they
henpeck what they want.
No, I got to tell you, it was like 95% accurate. Little nitpicky things that only I would know, maybe off, but honestly, bro, it was super accurate, which makes it all the more insane, to be honest with you.
Yes, no. Well, listen, I don't want to take up too much more of your time. I'm appreciating having you on. We do have to get you on maybe to talk some hockey as well. Down the line, I don't know if you're still a Devils fan or if you moved fan bases, but definitely would like to get you on and talk about the game throughout the season. But AJ, where can everybody find what you're doing, what you're a part of, and also tell everybody about the beautiful partnership you just announced to get the jerseys out there. Was looking at buying one myself. Already looks like they're sold out already. So what's going on there? Where can people find?
Did I miss that?
No, you should be good. You should be good. So we re-released. So we started, again, I wish I was a little more prepared for how this thing was going to blow up, but we are putting out merchandise again. Sold out of the t-shirts. We're working on restocking t-shirts, and we're going to bring some hoodies, jackets and stuff. But we just, I just partnered with Andy Sutton, the old NHL defenseman, with his company Verbero. Really like those guys, and they're going to be our exclusive jersey retailer right now. They ship internationally, which is cool. But yeah, so because of Drake, everyone's been asking me for the number 17 Galante jersey. So we put a pre-order that went in today. It's going to run through the week. It's made to order, so it shouldn't be sold out because we're just gonna, however many orders we get, it's gonna go to the warehouse to get, made, made to order by hand and everything. So we are gonna bring other jerseys, alternate jerseys we used to wear, things like that in the coming weeks. So, you could go to dbtrashers.com or Instagram, Twitter at dbtrashers, and check my gym out on Instagram at Champs Danbury.
Definitely. Well, AJ, it has been awesome to have you on. It's kick ass to watch the documentary. Hopefully, there's more big things in store. Hopefully, you give us a tip of the cap when the Trashers come back in some form, because I feel like that definitely, with all this hoopla going on, has to happen. But my friend, it's been awesome to have you on. I super appreciate your time and the stories, man.
No, of course, I appreciate you guys and the opportunity, and no, I hopefully we could meet one day.
No, definitely. I'm up for that 100%. We will make something happen.
All right, fellas. Thanks again. And yeah, anytime for wrestling, man. Anything mid to late 90s, I could be a good guest.
All right, hang around. We'll chat.
All right.
All right, see ya.
All right, well, ladies and gentlemen, this has been Offside Hockey Talk, where hockey comes to talk.